Taylor.
Hi.
This should be an easy one.
Yeah.
So take us back to when you first started at the company.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you started pretty much right out of high school, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us what your roles were. A lot of people know that you run a lot of things behind the scenes, but not everyone knows the detail that you were involved in. So why don't you share that with us, what that journey looked like?
Yep. So you hired me in as a marketing assistant,
Mm-hmm.
$10 an hour, here, make these graphics assistant.
It was more than 10, but not much more than 10.
It was 10.
Okay,
just,
fine. 10.
And so I was probably in that role for maybe about 9 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of morphed into your executive assistant because around that time you were doing over 100 deals a year, and you really didn't have someone that held you accountable or, helped keep you on track or was essentially your gatekeeper, to make sure that you were...
I had made the mistake of hiring transactional help instead of hiring an executive assistant.
Correct.
So it kind of evolved because you identified that I needed that help, right?
So I kind of morphed into that position, and obviously I've now held that for the last 7 years. And so I was the executive assistant, and you kind of tasked me with looking at our customer service and seeing why we weren't getting past client referrals or getting a lot of repeat business. And in doing that, I identified that our customer service was lacking. And so you in your true form, told me to go ahead and fix it. And so in doing that, we identified that some of the people that we had doing that transactional help that you mentioned maybe weren't the right people on the bus. And so when we did that and started to shift our customer service mindset and, focus on doing things, unfortunately, they, didn't want to be on the team any longer. And so they resigned from their roles, and naturally, I assumed both the listing coordinator and the transaction coordinator role on top of, still
the
maintaining.
Executive assistant stuff. Yes.
So I had all 3 jobs.
And probably no personal life and not much sleep.
No, I remember messaging you at midnight telling you that I quit and I wasn't coming in the next day, and then I'd come in the next day. So it really proved that I was serious there.
Well, because you went from handling 1 full-time job to handling 3 in an instant.
And I think we were closing right around 300 or 400 units at that time. So I was maintaining those 3 positions for about 7 months while we did the breakdown to breakthrough process, which was identifying, who it is that we wanted on the bus, who would get us to where we wanted to go, and hiring and finding that right talent. And so that process, fortunately, despite how, I guess, miserable it was doing all 3 jobs, we still didn't hire out of desperation. We hired who we thought was actually going to get us to where we wanted to be. And so that process, like I said, took about 6 to 9 months. And so that allowed me to be the transaction coordinator and be the listing coordinator. I mean, I was even answering phones. I was the front desk also. So I really learned all of those. And by doing each of those, as much as I may have hated it in that moment, I appreciate it now because I am truthfully the best person to lead those operations people now because I know where they are at because I've been there. I know how to do that process. I know how stressful it gets in the summer months. And so, again, that allowed us to hire the right talent. And then, we hired those people, and that ultimately then allowed me to become the director of operations, which, I did that for 4 or 5 years until I hired my replacement there.
And by the way, during that process, we also went from 250 units as a team to over 1,000.
Correct.
Right? So from marketing coordinator to front desk or client care and listing manager and transaction coordinator and my executive assistant to operations manager, all the while the company is going from 250 to 350 to 400 to 500 to 600. What was that experience like for you?
I mean, it wasn't ideal. I mean, we didn't truthfully have the best work-life balance. What I will say is it forced us, we weren't stopping. It was gotta figure it out, gotta, make sure that we're servicing these clients, gotta make sure we're providing good customer service. And it really forced us to become better. It forced us to figure out, the best way to service our clients and the best way to take care of our agents, which looking back, like I said, I'm so grateful for it now because I don't think we would be where we were today if that didn't happen.
Well, because we really took a good hard look at our customer service, but we recognize that there's really 2 customers in the organization.
Correct.
There's our agents and staff and our buyers and sellers, which, for a long time, when the team was just starting, it was just help our agents become successful. I'll help them make money. I'll teach them scripts. I'll teach them skills. I'll hold them accountable. There was really no focus on improving their experience on the job, right?
Yeah.
And so when did that shift take place, and what did that look like?
I mean, I can't exactly pinpoint where the shift took place, but I can say one of the biggest and best things that I think that you did that allowed me to really succeed in my role is that you forced me on a weekly basis, you know, to every single week, what can we do this week that's improving the customer experience? What can we do this week that's improving the agent experience?
Yep.
You know, how can we,
So once a week, we looked at those two questions.
Yep. And once a week, I was, you know, I don't want to say forced, but, you know, held accountable to, you know, constantly improving the organization in that form. And I really believe that's why we had that unit trajectory, because although we were maybe struggling with not having necessarily the best talent operationally, we were still improving our client experience and our agent experience as much as we could. That's why the units followed.
Yep, that's right. And so anyone that ends up working with you in a coaching client capacity gets the benefit from all the trial and error and hours upon hundreds upon thousands of hours of learning how to create a customer experience that gets us over 1,000 reviews online, by the way, learns how to create an agent experience that attracts and retains top producers. That is a huge value for anyone that gets to work with you.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah. So why coaching? Why did you decide to become a coach?
I mean, honestly, it's to share the experiences that we went through. I mean, we learned a lot. We did a lot of things right. We did a lot more things wrong, you know, and ultimately both of those got us to where we are today. And I personally believe that if I can help, you know, I said the same the other day and you reiterated it, if our clients are living their unreal life, then I'm living my unreal life. And so if I can help them get one step closer, whether it's, you know, figuring out customer service the right way or hiring the assistant the right way the first time so they get more of their life back, if that's what's going to be unreal for them and I can help them get there, then ultimately I'm living my unreal life.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you very much.